Hey, how you feeling?
Well, everything now is going to be all Hawaii preparation in these next 2 weeks. And so, we've kind of been doing a little bit during camp, but, right now it's solely Hawaii. So, we got to get ready. School started today, classes started. So just trying to keep our guys focused, but it's a start.
So I know you put a lot of time and effort into itinerary travels. You feel you got everything nailed down on that end for when you depart Thursday?
Yeah, but I don't know if it's any good. We'll see. Sometimes I think we talk too much about it. You know what I mean? We plan the best we can, and I'm sure we'll have to adjust a little bit. But, it is what it is. We got to get ready to go.
Right. In terms of, you would normally put out a updated depth chart on this day. This coming out of training camp is kind of when you kind of set the depth, decide the scout teams. You decided not to release one today. Any reasons why you wanted to hold off?
Yeah, why would we let Hawaii know what our depth chart is? I mean, just not to let Hawaii know.
Right. So next week at this time?
Yeah, I mean, just, we'll release it when they release theirs. You know what I mean? It's just all part of playing. I mean, I know you want it, but we don't want our opponents to have it.
Right, right. What freshmen, I interviewed a couple freshmen today because they're available, Diego and Cooper, but there's other guys. I think we talked about the 3 receivers and Diego. Do you see any other freshmen possibly getting on the bus, or maybe not the opener, but down the road?
Mitch West, Kevin Brennan is a guy at safety. Chike too at safety. Mikey McMorris definitely.
Right. So yeah, Dale had mentioned several defensive backs that are plebes that are in the mix.
Mikey McMorris would probably be a guy that travels, the first one. And those other guys are fighting for spots, those other safeties, freshman safeties.
Right. So is that encouraging that you got some plebes that look like they can play right away? And I think you probably have a bunch of other plebes that you like. They're just, for whatever reason, they're not there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it is by position, just your depth that you have at position. So we just feel like those guys are able to step in just because of the depth at positions. We got good players, we feel like, at the other spots at freshmen, but we already have guys in those spots that would be hard for those guys to beat out.
Right. I know you've had a good run of long snappers, and you've got a new one this year. I think that's a kid that you had been high on, but how's he coming along replacing Ronnie Query?
Well, right now they're battling.
You haven't.
And Kyle Gibbs and.
Okay, it's still a battle.
Yeah,
huh?
it's still a battle. I mean, they're 2 highly recruited kids, and long snapping, 2 of the best and better guys in the country. So it's a really good battle right now. Probably Pipe still has a little bit of edge right now, but it's a day-by-day deal.
Right. What can you tell me about these young freshmen? It looks like a nice group.
They're talented, I can tell you that. They're working hard. They have a long way to go.
But would you feel comfortable in putting 1 or 2 of them in a Hawaii game, or is that too early to say?
We got 8 practices left, and they need all 8, but hopefully they're trending in the right direction.
What does Cooper bring to the table?
I think he's the most versatile. He can do a little bit of everything. He's big, so he'll hopefully be able to do our down blocking, and he's able to run routes. So I'm really excited about him.
I was at the practice at the stadium when Gleaton got behind the defense and caught a long pass for a touchdown. He's got some explosion. What do you like about that?
Yeah, he's super talented too. I think he just needs to get in his playbook a little bit more, which he will. Which he will. He's young.
And Woods, I was here when he caught a pass in the end zone on a goal line drill, which he got excited about. He's kind of more like Cooper, big, tall, rangy.
Yeah,
kid, right?
he's probably the fastest of the 3 of them, but he's got a little ways to go. He's talented.
So obviously we always say that if you can't block, you can't play wide receiver in this offense. Traditionally, freshmen do not know how to block properly enough to get on the field here. Are these guys learning it enough that you feel comfortable, or not yet?
We still got these 8 practices, and they're going to need them all.
Right, right. But they can do. They're
going to be able to. They're physical enough. They're strong enough to do it. Now it's just technique.
All right. So beyond that, who kind of tell me, how do you see the depth chart? How is Taylor Jackson coming along? AB. I mean, where else are we at on this?
The plan is we're going to play a lot of guys. First game, hopefully you'll see 7 wideouts play, and then we'll kind of go from there, see who plays the best. But they're all playing pretty well. Yeah, see who performs and give them all a shot. Because really, Taylor's only played a little bit. He's my only wideout that's ever played. AB's always played a ton of football, but he's never played wide receiver. So the plan is to get them all reps first game and kind of see who does the best and go from there.
What about Mitchell?
Yeah, he's going to play, but he hasn't played yet.
Right.
But he will play. He will for sure play.
Right.
2 weeks.
So you envision kind of throwing 7 out there and rotate them and see who shows you something.
That's the plan, unless somebody has a big time setback in the next 8 days or 8 practices. But the plan is to get them all in there, get them all reps.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your position group and what's happening at Raider. We talked in the spring about Cromartie. How's he coming along? We kind of wanted him to take another step forward and show you that he is ready to be the man.
Yeah, he's continued right where he kind of left off in the spring, and he knows the goals of our defense and trying to get after the quarterback, and he's going to be a big part of it. I think he worked really hard all summer, transitioning from a D-line position to an outside linebacker position. So there's a few more different aspects that you gotta learn, and he did a great job.
Obviously, DJ Palmore was a veteran guy, had a lot of games under his belt. You could rely on him. You knew what you're getting out of DJ. Is there concern about consistency with Cromartie, or are you seeing that? Do you feel that you're going to get steady Eddie type play like you did with DJ?
Well, DJ is going to be big shoes to fill. We know that, but I think Crow is coming along. I mean, I don't think we're going to have to alter a game plan or anything for him. I mean, he's going to have to pass rush. He's going to have to drop. He's going to have to do a lot of all the things the Raider has done, and he's proven in the spring that he can do it. He made a nice play, obviously, there in the scrimmage on Friday, dropping into coverage, and so he'll be fine. He'll be good.
Anything in particular that he brings to the table? And maybe there's something he's better than DJ at. He's a little bit more of a physical specimen, isn't he?
Well, he's heavier, but his get off is he's a big time speed rush guy. DJ was great with his hands, and he was very he could think his way through a lot of situations, whereas Crow, I think, is the opposite. He's gonna go, and I kind of joke with him and I say, Crow's got to go, and his speed rush is tremendous, and but with that he sets up all his other moves, so he's a dangerous guy. He can come under, he obviously can go over the top, so he's got a lot in his bag, and we're going to try to use it.
So I interviewed this Diego Fichot today, first time, and he's a guy that's in the mix, which is a little surprising as a freshman to be already pushing for time on the depth chart. What do you like about that kid?
Well, he's, kind of reminds me a little bit of DJ, quite frankly, as a freshman. I mean, only, Diego is, he's 250 pounds himself. I mean, he's a freshman at 250, very powerful, very strong, understands the game. He's a South Florida kid. He understands defense. He played a lot of middle linebacker.
That's what he told me.
Yeah, so he understands.
Running sideline.
Yeah, I mean, he understands drops. He understands coverages. Obviously as a freshman, a college package is a lot more involved than probably at high school, and so that'll be his biggest, I guess, hump to get over is continue to understand what we're doing on defense and where everything fits. But once again, he's a big old kid who can come off the edge. He really gives us two 250-pound outside linebackers, which traditionally we haven't had. We've been in that 230 range. So.
Right. Well, that's what Dale had said. I know he started an inside linebacker, and that lasted for about 2 days before you sent him over to Radar. Anything in particular that you saw about this kid that jumped out at you?
We just know that he'd be a huge presence on the edge. Like I said, having two 250-pound guys is we haven't had that before. Right. And the power that he can bring off the edge. Plus, we're a position where we graduated 3 guys last year, so there's probably a little bit more of a opportunity, right? Exactly. To get on the field, and he came over and. He earned his reps. There's in the first 3 days. There's no question.
So what else is going on at that position? I think you have the kid that's a converted fullback, Monaco, and Bankston. I mean,
and Connor Doris. All those guys are just kind of fighting to see who's going to be 3 on the bus, and they all have their, they're something that they're good at. You know what I mean? Those guys are, all in that 230 to 235, maybe even a little 238 range. So we still got 9 days to go. You know what I mean? No one's slotted really anywhere. I mean, I think the first 2 have done a nice job. They've proven themselves, but we're going to see who's number 3 and who's number 4. And at some point we'll get on the bus and plane and go to Hawaii. So.
First, let's talk about him. I mean, is he showing the leadership you would expect of a senior captain who's played a lot?
Absolutely. I mean, Sean probably works harder than anybody I've ever coached here. I mean, he's out here long before anybody's out here before practice, and a lot of times you got to kick them off the field at the end of practice. So if we can find some other guys to take on his work ethic. You know, we got a chance to be really, really good on the back end, but he's definitely taken over that leadership role as a, you know, as a leader on the back end. So really excited about this season and what he may do.
So I think last year, if I'm correct, he played mostly strong safety. I think this year you have a free safety. Why change? You know, if he had so much experience at one, why change?
We kind of, with the tempo of today's game, it's kind of turned more into a right and left safety. So on a depth chart,
it's not really strong and free.
On the depth chart, it's listed that way just because you got two safeties back there. But in all honesty, they play. You know, I pretty much require all of them to learn them all, so they can play either side. And you know, with teams like Tulsa in our league that go at a super high tempo, that you know you can just line up right and left, and everybody can play fast and execute. So
right.
Even though it says free and strong, it just kind of is what it is on the back end, and we just try to balance it up with a right and left safety.
Right. So who looks like they're going to get out there and be on the same side or the opposite side of Sean? I think we're talking about Haley and Springer pretty much, right?
Yep, those two guys are battling it out right now.
Is it a good battle?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the nice thing is it gives you three quality guys back there, and you know, Juan played probably a third to half a season last year for us, and you know, Jake had a really, really good fall camp last year and then got banged up, so you know, he didn't get to play quite as much as we probably would have liked, but he did have some play in special teams, and
he's got the physical. I think, you know, size-wise, he might be what you're looking for back there, right?
Absolutely. You know, all of them are pretty big kids. Since January when Coach Fitz took over, they all put on probably 5 to 7 pounds each. So, you know, with Juan probably being the heaviest, but you know, Jake's doing some really, really good things, and again, Juan's really, you know, kind of turned the corner and changed his mindset this fall camp to really kind of aid in Sean's leadership role, but kind of take over the group in the safety room as well. So obviously, because Sean's a defense captain, he's kind of got the overall picture of the defense, but you know, Juan's done a great job of being a leader, whether, you know, it's him on the field. Obviously, I know between him and Jake, both of them want to be out there, so you know, we'll see in the next probably week or so which guy is going to be the guy.
So I just wrote about Jared Ryan. I mean, he's really probably your most experienced corner as far as a guy that's been out there. And I know he played safety last year. But other than that, I think over on the other side, you got Farrar, about him with like Kalen Williams. I mean, what are you seeing at the other corner spot?
Well, I think the one thing we have this year is a lot of depth at corner. We have a lot of options out there. So, you know, Micah Farrar is a really, really good athlete. You know, still a young guy, but between him and an experienced guy like Kalen, that, you know,
right, Kalen's been on the field. And
he's been on the field. Has been, you know, a huge special teams player for us. So, you know, and then obviously with Jared being on the other side, it gives you three solid guys with some other guys behind them that, you know, are fighting for playing time as well. So, but I mean, it's still, you got a little bit of time to figure out who the starting guys are, but you know, you got some depth at both spots, or really all four spots there in the secondary that, you know, is awesome to have.
So, I mean, obviously we talked about three guys at both corner and safety, but beyond that, it seems a little murky. You know, I was just talking to Coach. There's a bunch of freshmen like Mikey McMorris and Mitch West, and I think there's like four guys. I think a Brennan guy, Kevin Brennan. Who else are we talking about in the mix anywhere in the D-bag in the secondary?
So we moved Rue.
Bonner.
Yep, back to safety last week. And he's been taking some reps there, and he's actually done some really good things as well. So he's a guy that has experience playing from last year at corner to being one of the better tacklers. We figured it'd be a good fit for him at safety. And
so it'd be fair to say he might be four behind Williams and Haley and Springer?
Yep, absolutely. Yep. So he's probably locked in that 4 spot right now, but you know, between the other two freshmen, Mitch West and Kevin Brennan, they're still learning. You know, fall camp's a little different than spring ball because you got to force feed guys because you got to get prepared for the season. So, you know, with those guys, they just got to try to pick it up on the fly and, you know, coach them up as we go. But
what about a corner? Who else you got behind the three that we've talked about?
So you got Mikey McMorris over there. You got Elijah Jones out there. He played some last year, and obviously moving Rue, so that took away from the corner spot. But again, we felt we had some pretty good depth there with Micah and Kalen and
Jared
Ryan over there. So you got some pretty good depth out there. which allows you to move a guy like Rue back to safety. So, but you know, again, it's nice to have depth, whereas last year we were a little thin, and you know, had to make the move with Jared to move him back to safety. So, you know, it's been a great fall camp for us. You know, guys are competing, guys want to play, and it's our job as coaches to find the best four to stick out there on the field. So.